information, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from any and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them, and we take your questions. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and our guest this week is artist extraordinaire. He is of Amourable Art. Please welcome Pat Kenrick to the show. Pat, welcome. How are you?
Hey, everybody. How you doing? I'm doing good, Ryan.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for being here with us, Pat. Now, if you have any questions for Pat Kenrick as we go throughout the course of this episode, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Our producers are going to be keeping an eye on it as we go throughout the course of this very program. And don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. With that being said, Pat, how were you introduced to the world of comics?
Way back. And I'm older than dirt. So, I go back to not like the 40s, when Superman came out, but I grew up in the 60s and 70s. And so there was a lot of changes going on in the comic book industry at that time, especially around the 70s, because at that point, comic books were taking on more of the social issues that everyone else kind of steered away from because it was unpleasant. But the comic books went right into it. It was like punching people right in the face. This is happening and this is what's going on in the world. So, but my comic book days go way back. So
awesome sauce. I wouldn't have guessed you were a day over 25, but I guess I was wrong.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's all good. No one in the studio, or maybe even outside of the studio, I don't know, it depends on how you look at it. We don't look a day over 25. Age is just a bloody number. But with that being said, what would you say are some of your favorite comic writers or artists? Any names stand out to you?
Names would be like Neil Adams from he did a Batman series with DC. Writers would be, of course, Kirby and Stan Lee. Those guys were all pretty brilliant. So as far as those things go, though, I really never paid much attention because to me, the comic book, when I picked it up, I wanted to be entertained. And yeah, I guess I should have gone and said, oh, this was this artist. This was this artist. And there's people who are in the comic book world. They know the names of all these artists because I go to conventions and someone says, oh, hey, well, that's, Robert Wright. And I was like, who's that? Oh, he did this and he did that. Or there's Dominic Glover. He did Spider-Man for Marvel for years. So I never really paid much attention to the artist as much as I did the art itself.
Oh, I see. I can understand that. What would you say are some of your favorite comic book based movies or TV series, whether they be past or present?
Again, I remember the first TV Superman series where he pretty much wore a sweatshirt with a big S magic marker onto his shirt. It was actually comical, but it was, but then as a kid, that was like, wow, that's Superman. It wasn't until Christopher Reeve redid the role, and that's what was like, oh yeah, that's the guy out of the comic books. So it started to look like the comic book character other than somebody in just a made-up suit. And so but I would say probably my favorite is the Tim Burton version of Batman. Everything about that movie to me it just screamed comic book. When Jack Nicholson was talking to Jack Palance, about who's going to, he wants him to do something, whatever. In the background, through the windows, you could see the gargoyles hanging out of the on the windows, on the ledge of the windowsills, and I mean that kind of stuff. The way he paid attention to detail to keep it in a comic book form was just amazing. And Prince did the soundtrack. I mean, come on.
Nothing better when you got a group of your friends strolling through the museum and you say, Lawrence, let's broaden our minds.
Yeah.
Lawrence, and then cue the boombox and just walk through and just take over the place, if you will.
Push the button and start spray painting, you know?
Exactly. Just vandalize all the paintings that are hanging on the walls, or in this case, other pieces of artwork too. Don't get me wrong. But he almost, what was it? Bob almost cut up the George W. who was on the dollar bill. He's like, I kind of like this one.
I like this one. Yeah.
It's just, I mean,
everything about that movie was just really, really good, you know? So, yeah, that was that's my favorite superhero movie, and maybe and I'm a DC guy, and yeah, DC movies suck for the most part. It's more of a matter of opinion, but they pretty much do, because Marvel makes really funny and extraordinary movies. But Wonder Woman was really good, and I liked V is for Vendetta, and I also really liked Watchmen. That was, and I liked those quirky ones, you know. With Watchmen, you know, the villains were ourselves, so it was really kind of interesting. So.
That's true. That's true. But you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Sorry, I can't help it. I've seen that movie billions of times. I watched it on VHS growing up as a kid. I wore out the VHS tape to the point where I had to go somewhere and buy the DVD, and then eventually DVD became Blu-ray, and then I got the Blu-ray, and the 20th anniversary edition came out. Got that, and it's been a beautiful thing ever since. Plus, you know, you can stream it nowadays on HBO Max, which is, by the way, hashtag not a sponsor. I just want to make that perfectly clear. But
really, about 3 months ago, I rewatched it. And
I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Really,
I love it. Endlessly rewatchable, endlessly quotable. Great score by Danny Elfman. Good soundtrack by Prince, who big hit for the time. No question about it. But aside from that, we are talking with Pat Kenrick of Amourable Art here on this episode of And I Quote. Make sure you like and share this video with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for Pat, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We're going to be taking those as they come in throughout the course of this very program. But Pat, when did you decide to become an artist?
At a very early age. When I was in grade school, back in the day, they had no diagnosis for ADHD or any of that, you know, learning disabilities, which they just flourished in me. But something that always made me not only calm, but something that I could concentrate on was art. So when the school newspaper came out, they asked me to do the headline, the banner for it. They asked me to do a weekly cartoon inside of it and all that stuff. So yeah, it's back in grade school was pretty much where I really started to just really love the medium of just 2D art, drawing and painting. And so in high school, pretty much was the same way. You know how athletes will get ahead, they'll push an athlete ahead because he's talented in his sport. At the school I was at, they noticed that I was talented in art, and a lot of grades I thought I was going to fail that I didn't. They just kind of passed me through, and I don't know if they either felt sorry for me or they thought, no, this guy's pretty good at art. Let's just keep moving him along and he'll find his spot. And that's pretty much what happened.
Wow, that is some incredible stuff. What would you say are some of the rewards about being an artist?
You got to go. What does that song say? In order to get to, you got to go through hell to get to heaven. And that's pretty much it. I would say that for almost every profession. I mean, when someone graduates law school and they pass the bar and they got their jurisprudence or whatever they call it, they don't start making money. They're not rich right away. It takes years of practice. It takes years of clients. It takes years of developing the type of law you want to. And it's the same way with any profession, doctors or, you know, car mechanics or anybody, you know, it's just when you do it enough, you get good at it, you know, and especially if you have a passion for that, if you don't get better, then you need to find something else to go work on. So as I was progressing along, things got better, and I started getting more recognition, and so everything just started to get better. The best thing about being an artist is I can't say the time is my own, because it's not. I have a schedule. I work just like anybody else does. I get up. Now I don't have to shower, shave, and put on a tie and spend an hour commuting to go to work. I stagger upstairs with a cup of coffee, and I sit down and look at what I sketched all last night and go, "No, this sucks. I got to start over." So, it's just so it's not like the perfect job, but it is for me, because if I look at all the sketches I did last night and I got to redo them, oh my God, that's so horrible. I got to draw more. So yeah, I think that's probably the best part about it. Is it's something that I love to do. I wouldn't want to do anything else with my life. And and people like what I do, and they buy my work, and that affords me the opportunity to create more. And that's the best part about it.
Rock on, man. On the other side of the fence, though, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges about being an artist?
Credit is probably one of the biggest ones. Now I'm successful enough, and my credit cards, are good and all that. But trying to explain to someone when you're renting a place that, yeah, I'm an artist, and the first thing they think of, because everybody thinks this in their mind, oh my God, they're starving. They're not going to be able to pay the rent. Or, oh God, I can't give this guy a car loan. He's an artist. He doesn't have an income. And nothing could really be further from the truth. It's one of those, it's like I was going back with the lawyers and all that stuff. It's not like any other, it's like every other profession.
Mm-hmm.
If you do something and you do it well and people pay you for it, you have income. Now, can I tell someone, yes, I'm going to make X amount of dollars this year? No, I can't tell them that, because it could be more, and every year it's been more. But there could be a time like COVID where it was less. So I guess the hardest part about being an artist is getting credibility when it comes to everyday life.
All right. I can see that. Once again, we are talking with Pat Kenrick of Amourable Art here on this episode of And I Quote. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for Pat, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. We're going to be taking them as we come in. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this person's name right. Is it Caro or Carrot? I'm not sure. But they chime in. They say, I sure like what you do, Pat.
That must be someone who's got some of my work then.
It might be. I'm just not sure how to pronounce this person's name. Is it Caro or Carrot?
Let me see.
Not sure. Karot. I'm not really sure, but that's what it says here on the Titan.
Yeah, Caro looks like to me.
Thank
you so much. It's one of those where, like I said, I'm very fortunate that people like what I do, and every artist wants to say, well, I'm different, and I guess every artists are different. I have a different take on things. I do fan art, but it doesn't necessarily have to look exactly like the character that I'm trying to represent. And I throw some of my own stuff into it, or I get abstract with it. So, it's just one of those where I have fun, and I take a piece from, let's say, Captain Marvel. And instead of doing the blue and the, making her look just like the comic book character or just like Brie, I make it look different, but you automatically know when you see it, that's Captain Marvel. So it's a different take on the fandoms.
Oh, I see what you mean. And by the way, person chimed in and said it is pronounced Carrot. Okay, just making sure I want to say your name right there, Carrot. But thank you for being with us. I was just making sure I was pronouncing the individual's name right. Do not get me wrong. Now, I'd like to share something with you, and for those of you who may be watching this at home, and I'll describe this as we're going through them one piece at a time. This is some examples of some of your artwork. Now, this, I believe, takes place within the Lord of the Rings universe. How long did it take you to put something like this together?
I'll be honest, the first part of it with them walking up the hill, that's actually a screenshot from the movie.
Wow.
And you see that I've seen it on T-shirts. I see it everywhere, right? So that part was pretty much already done, except the coloring, because it was always done in black and white because it's a silhouette. And I added color to it. The two towers and the Return of the King part of it was a lot more difficult to come up with, because, especially the towers, because I wanted to make sure that you got to know which one was Isengard and the other one was, I forget the name of that one that Sauron lived in, Barad-dûr or something like that. But I had to make sure I had those correct. And then the final part of it, I started thinking, you know what? I got them coming up this hill, and if I pointed it at the front where Boromir's standing, or Aragorn's at the very end standing there, and then made it look like a hilt at the end of it, that could be Narsil, which is the Isildur sword. So I tried to make it look like it was all on a sword.
Wow. Incredible work.
It took months and months and months of work, especially the type of work that I do, because it's everything I do is a paper cutout. So
big time, big process. By the way, Carrot chimes in. It's actually Pat's friend Charlie is here, and they say hi to Pat. That's who Carrot is.
Oh, okay. Well, I know Charlie. If they're in Chicago,
they may be.
Then that's my friend Charlie up there in Chicago.
Up in Chicago with them bears. By the way, he also says that I own that Lord of the Rings piece. It's one of my favorites, Carrot.
I believe that is Charlie from Chicago.
Yeah, and he confirms it. He says, "Yep."
Yeah, we had dinner with Charlie and Kathy not too long ago. So they're very cool people. Again, awesome. This is another thing. This is one of the great things about my job. I go from city to city to city, and I talk to thousands of people because of these Comic-Cons. You've been there, you see it. They're packed with people. And some people can't help but stumble into my booth because it's there, and we just start talking about, different fandoms and things like that. And next thing I know, I'm really good friends with them. And so Charlie and Kathy up in Chicago, we had, like I said, we were supposed to catch a Cubs game, but I think it was snowing that day, or it was raining really bad. It was cold. And I love baseball, but I'm not going to sit in the rain to watch a game. So we just had dinner together. It was really nice. And same thing with my friends in Philly and friends in Baltimore. So, wherever I go, it seems like I make friends, and it's very important to me because I'm a people person, and I get a lot of ideas from everybody too. They say, "Hey, why don't you do this?" Or "Why have you thought about doing that?" And it kind of jogs something in my head. Next thing I know, I'm doing quick sketches, and then I'm doing more detailed sketches, and then I'm starting to pick colors. And so it's just a process, but it all starts with the people that I talk to.
Absolutely. I love it. It's absolutely great. And he goes on to say, I loved hanging out with you and Alexis.
Yes, that's my wife.
Friend says. Yep. That's the love of Pat's life, Alexis. Wonderful person. Wonderful person. Just giving them credit where credit is due.
I got lucky.
Gee whiz. All these things about that. Oh, boy. But another example I'd like to share with you, and once again, the first piece we looked at was from Lord of the Rings universe. This one right here, this is tapping into the Disney universe here. How long did it take to put some of these Disney pieces together, featuring things such as Lion Kings, Mary Poppins, Winnie the Pooh, Belle from Beauty and the Beast?
Okay, so breaking these down is kind of easy. With the Lion King, the Castle, Mary Poppins, and Belle, actually, those are all just one piece of paper that's cut.
Huh.
So now with the Lion King, I did a gradient. I wanted to make it look like it was from the Serengeti. So I wanted to have the sunset looking red and yellowish. So I wanted that to look like that. And I did, of course, Big Simba and Little Simba as a cub. And the name of the piece is Can't Wait, because my favorite song from that movie was I Can't Wait to Be King. And so that's how that piece came about. The Cinderella Castle was the one and I've been doing castles for years, and we've retired the one there that you see, and I've got a new one out because I don't know why, I just keep going back and painting Disney castles. Mary Poppins, of course, was a huge influence as far as in the 60s with Julie Andrews singing her songs and all that. And then I saw the second one, and I really liked that one too. So I really like Mary Poppins. If you're an artist and you're doing pop art and you don't do Winnie the Pooh, you're not a pop artist.
Oh, bother.
I know, really, because Winnie the Pooh is the 5th largest fandom in the entire world of all time. Of all time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, Pokemon's #1, Hello Kitty's #2.
Oh boy.
But Pooh has more fans than Star Wars, Marvel, DC.
Wow.
It's amazing. And then I do all of the Disney princesses, and Belle, of course, is one of the ones that I do.
Amazing stuff.
Walt Disney was one of my biggest influences growing up. And so I always loved the stuff that would come out of Disney Studios. I'm not the kind of artist that can sit there day in and day out and, do an acetate piece, there's going to be a layover onto something else, going to be a layover, and working with 20 other artists that are drawing the exact same thing with the exact same measurements. I guess I could do it if I really put my mind to it, but my mind never goes in that direction.
All right, I can see that. Once again, we are talking with Pat Kenrick of Amourable Art here on this episode of And I Quote. Make sure you like and share this video with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for Pat, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We're going to be keeping an eye on it as we go through the course of this very program. One more thing I'd like to share with you here, just a few more examples if you don't mind. Sure. These are all over the place. You got what is it? You got Spider-Gwen, you got Ahsoka, you got Marvel, you got anime. How long did it take to put some of these pieces together?
The one that took the longest there would probably either be Ahsoka or Aang from The Last Airbender. And the reason those are is because they're layered pieces. They're different colors of cut paper. Most of the time, I'll do a single sheet of paper and I will color it. Then I'll draw over top of it, and then I will cut it out. With those, it takes a little more of composition to do because I have to color each piece, each like with Ahsoka, she's got an orange piece of paper. She's got a blue piece of paper. There's white paper in there. So I had to layer those to make it look the way it does. With Carnage, it's just a single sheet of paper that I painted red, and then I cut all the details out of it. Aang took forever. Aang took a very, very long time. Trying to get his staff behind his back was really hard to do, and trying to keep it straight was tough too.
Oof. My goodness gracious. Well, these are all incredible pieces of artwork. Do not get me wrong. Fantastic stuff. Have there been any special memories for you from being at conventions or other events, whether you are there as a vendor or there as an attendee? Anything specific that stands out to you?
A lot of stuff, especially this last year. We were at Raleigh SuperCon, and the lady who was the model for Tinkerbell, the original Tinkerbell.
Oh, yes.
She was at this convention. And look, God bless my friends. Like I said, I have them in every city. I have friends that actually run the celebrities. Their family is in charge of making sure the celebrities get to go where they're supposed to go. I mean, it's a husband and wife and 2, sometimes 3 of their kids, and they're all coordinating with each other, who's going to go where and all that. Well, the wife of the team brings this lady into my booth, and we talk to each other and all that. And I happen to have my Tinkerbell sitting right there. And I keep noticing that this older lady, because she's damn near 90, right? And she keeps glancing over at it, right? And she keeps glancing over. And so finally I just picked it up and I gave it to her. I said, here, this is for you. And she goes, oh, no, I can't take that. I go, no, I insist. You brought me so much happiness. This is for you. And she goes, oh, I'm going to go hang up in my booth right now. And she did. She went and she hung it up in her booth. And I sold out of Tinkerbells that weekend because people would go talk to her. They'd see the piece. She'd tell them, oh, he's right around the corner. Go see him. The next thing I know, I'm sold out. So that's probably one of the best memories. Another one was, and this was with Alexis, my wife. We were in Houston, Texas, and this guy comes in, and he looks up, and I have this anime piece. It's Yu Yu Hakusho, right? It's Yusuke. And the guy says, do you have any prints of that? And my wife said, yeah, I'll help you find some. So my wife pulled out a print, and she goes, well, we have a buy two, get one free. And so this guy went and he picked out a couple more for his friends. But the one that he picked out for Yusuke was for him. Turns out he's the voice actor for that character.
Oh my God.
We didn't even know it, right? I would have given it to him, right? Because he's the voice actor, and I usually do that. Because so many people come in to see those voice actors, they stop by my booth, they pick up a piece of art to have them sign it, and then they go on. So, I mean, it's a great symbiotic relationship that I have with these voice actors and actors, that they like my work and they come and they look for it. You know, the same thing with the Ahsoka Tano. Ashley Eckstein does the voice for her. And we were in Philadelphia. You were at that show.
Yep, that was me. I was there too.
And she was there.
Great show.
And my wife says, and this was Friday, and it was dead. There was nothing going on Friday night.
Okay.
And so my wife says, and we could see Ashley's booth. I mean, it was not 30 yards from my booth.
Yeah, it wasn't that far.
And she said, she says, everyone's got assigned one of these, but we don't have one. Would you like her to sign one of these? I said, yeah, go get her to sign one. There's no wait. Go ahead and go get it. So she goes over and she tells Ashley that I'm the artist. And she goes, oh my God, she says, I have signed hundreds of these. She said, can I meet your husband? I'm so impressed with his art. And I was floored. I was like, yeah, that's great. I'll go and meet her. And so I went over and we had a nice long conversation, about 20, 30 minutes and all that. So yeah, and that was great. And so I'm sitting there talking to this celebrity. She's got her own clothing line and everything, And
Our universe or her universe. Yeah.
I'm some guy who draws pictures, And I'm talking to this lady who does voice acting, and she does a lot of other things. And so
for years.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm kind of humbled because I'm just an artist. But those are types of things that happen every year. I mean, let me see who. Cummings is the guy who does the voice acting for Winnie the Pooh. And
Jim Cummings, yeah.
Yeah, and he does Tigger. And he's come in my booth several times, and he tells me all the time, yeah, I signed Tigger and I signed the Eeyore. He said, but I'm waiting for the real one to come out. And I'm going, well, which one's that? And he goes, Hondo. And I said, holy cow, I didn't know you were Hondo.
Star Wars.
Yeah. So he told me when I get one done, I got to bring it by for him to sign it.
It's genius. It's genius.
Yeah. It's great that I get to talk to these people on a regular basis. That's one of the better things about being an artist, I guess.
And two things I'd like to share with you regarding the show that went down. Specifically, it was called Fan Expo Philadelphia, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was earlier this year. This is 2022, to be more specific. So I met you, I met your wife, and I got some of your prints. One of the voice actors is Brett Ewan, who voices Mickey Mouse. So I got the Mickey and Friends print, had him sign it, and then I brought it back to your booth. You and I took a selfie together. It was posted on your Instagram later that weekend at some point or whatever it was. And not only that, but Ahsoka Tano, the voice actress, I should say, Ashley Eckstein. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right.
Yeah, it is.
We went to her booth because my friends who we were there with, she really wanted to meet Ashley. She's a big Ahsoka Tano fan, but she was nervous. So she was like, "Can you be with me when I go up to meet Ashley?" And we said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Right? So we go up to Ashley's booth. She starts asking her questions, and the conversation's rolling, it's going. And then all of a sudden, Ashley turns to me and my other friend who were there with her at that point. We were standing with her in line at this point. She just started talking to all three of us, and she talked to us for like a good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I'm thinking to myself, listen, I knew you were nice, but this is like too nice. This is like certifiably nice. Like, she's very appreciative of her fans. She's talking to every single person who's in the, and she talks to them for an extended period of time, because some celebrities and some lines, depending on who you ask, because every situation is different.
Correct.
Certain lines have to, keep moving at a certain pace, and certain actors can't stick around and they can't talk to their fans for too long, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But Ashley took her time.
Yeah.
She made it worth it.
Talking to her is so easy too, because she doesn't come off with any kind of. And a lot of these voice actors and actors,
she was great,
like that. They're, you would never know. Like Brian Bostic from Rocky Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Barry Bostwick, yeah.
Yeah, he came in the booth one time, and he's just standing there looking around, and he asked me, "Is this your work?" I go, "Yeah, it is." He goes, "Oh, I love what you do." And I said, "Yeah, same, brother. I love what you do."
I mean, that interaction we had with Ashley was one of the best celebrity interactions I've ever had. And I wasn't even originally planning to meet her. I was just there to support a friend, which I didn't mind doing. Do not get me wrong.
Right.
And then Ashley and I ended up getting a selfie together. So it was even sweeter. I was like, yes, now I got something to remember this by. It's not just going to be my memory. I actually have actual evidence.
And some of these people, they want you to pay for that. And some are like, "No, come on, let's get a selfie together,"
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's great. Whenever you come across a genuine person like that, it really makes a difference.
Especially someone like Ashley. So if you ever get a chance to meet Ashley Eckstein at a convention, folks, go to her booth. She will talk to you for however long you need.
Yeah, she's a good person.
Wonderful person inside and out. But aside from our love and appreciation for someone known as Ashley Eckstein / Ahsoka Tano, outside of that is some great memories, man. That is some really great stuff, honestly. And I have heard that the person who was the stand-in, or the person they based Tinkerbell off of, has been doing conventions. If I ever get a chance to meet that woman who portrayed or helped portray Tinkerbell, I am going to say hi to her. I will.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's very. If you see, when I was growing up on Walt Disney, it had the Wonderful World of Color. That actually, being poor, we got to watch on a black and white TV, right? Wow. But at the very end, Tinkerbell flies around the castle, and then she hits her wand, and and so she's that important into the Disney universe that they used her at the opening of that show for a decade, So yeah, and they did have she was the model. She would have on a suit. She would have on the suit, and she would pose all different poses, and she'd have 30 guys in the room sketching her, wow, so that they could put it all together so they could make Peter Pan.
That is truly amazing. In color. Anyway, aside from, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Someone made a joke of that in a Disney Pixar movie. I think it was the genie. He was like, "In color."
Yeah.
It was in Aladdin and the King of Thieves, the third one. That was the direct-to-video sequel, but that's neither here nor there. Once again, we are talking with the incredible artist known as Pat Kenrick of Amourable Art here on this episode of And I Quote. If this is your first time here, welcome and thank you for being with us. Do not forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for Pat, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. I've been liking we've been enjoying hearing from you thus far. With that being said, I do want to let you know something, that this episode of And I Quote, and every episode of And I Quote, I should say, is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. Now, Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or simply gamify their podcasts. You simply shuffle up the cards, you ask a question, and you let the content roll. Get yours today at poddex.com, and make sure you use that promo code RYAN10. That's RYAN10, RYAN10, for 10% off your order. You're not going to want to miss out on that opportunity. That being said, so our good friends at Poddex are asking, what was one thing you begged your parents for as a kid, and they finally gave it to you?
An 8-track.
That
Again,
goes back a few years.
I'm old, right? So there was a paradigm shift going from albums, vinyl, to tape. And the reason being is you can't bring a record player in your car. But if you had a 8-track, you could play it in your car. So, but I didn't want one for my car. I just wanted an 8-track because I wanted to switch from vinyl to 8-track because that was the thing to do at the time. And they were expensive. They weren't cheap. And again, I alluded, we kind of grew up poor. So it was one of those, I never really thought I'd get one. And so Christmas Day, I wake up and of course everything, you with us, Christmas was, a new pair of socks and another pair of underwear. That was that was Christmas because you might have had an orange and some walnuts in your stocking. That was also a big deal. But so after all the regular stuff and all that, my mother says, I've got one more thing for you. I was like, okay, great. What? And she hands it to me. It's in a box. I open it up and it's an 8-track. And I am floored because it's like, Mom, who did you have to kill to get the money to buy this thing, right? So so I'm all excited, but I had nothing to hook it to. I didn't have any speakers. I didn't have a receiver. I didn't have anything. It was just a tape deck, which I could plug the tape in and it would swirl around, but no noise, no sounds would come from it. So, and I didn't have the heart to tell my mom, this is a great gift, Mom, but you're missing 3/4 of it. So I just started saving my money from the paper route that I had until I bought the speakers and I bought the receiver and bought the wires. And that was probably about another 6 months, almost a year before I had everything put together, which also gave me time to buy a couple more tapes because the only thing I had was a Beatles 8-track tape. So, but it gave me a chance to buy some more stuff. So, but yeah, that would probably be something that I remember the most because it was, she killed herself to get it for me. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that it's incomplete. It was just one of those. And she even asked me several times, so how you like your tape deck? Oh, I love it, Mom. Thanks. I didn't want to break her heart, because she did. She worked really hard to get me that thing. And so I wanted to make sure that it was going to be working by the next Christmas.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Well, thank you for sharing that memory with us. That is definitely that's a big one. That's amazing stuff. If you could hire any wedding singer, who would you choose and what song?
A wedding singer.
Any wedding singer. Could be anybody.
Any singer.
Any singer to be your wedding singer, and what song would you have them perform? Anything.
I would probably hire Taylor Swift.
Oh, Tay-Tay. Okay.
I would hire her because, for one thing, you can't get her. So if I could get anyone, I would get her. And she could sing whatever the hell she wanted to sing because it would be Taylor Swift, and it would completely thrill my wife to no end. She's a big Swiftie, With me, I see the Grateful Dead, but for my wife, I would get Taylor Swift to sing a song.
Okay. Well, hey, all due respect, it's all good. Nothing wrong with whatever choice there may be or whatever song there may be, because music is the language of the soul. Nothing wrong with that. When it comes to Grateful Dead, I can't remember exactly what my favorite song from them or what it was or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember Deep Purple and Smoke on the Water. That's a good song. I like that one. I mean, I'm not saying I would choose that for the wedding. I'm not saying I would choose that for my wedding. I'm just saying that when you mentioned that name of the band, I just thought of similar bands that are kind of similar to Grateful Dead, and Deep Purple was one of them.
Deep Purple was a very, very good band. What most people don't know was Ian Gillan was the lead singer for Deep Purple. He is also the lead singer. He sang the part of Jesus Christ in the original Jesus Christ Superstar.
Well, I'll be.
Yeah, who knows?
Crazy world we're living in. Let me tell you.
Well,
What?
and as
Yeah.
to being old, you remember a bunch of stupid shit.
Hmm. Maybe you never know. With that being said, our next question brought to you by our good friends over here at Poddex. What's the most annoying bill that you have to pay?
Alimony.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's one of those where
Hmm.
when I got divorced from my ex, I didn't. Again, I'm not somebody who pays much attention to the details, and didn't happen to read the part where this alimony was going to go on for either my lifetime or her lifetime. Whoever, if she died first, then I didn't have to pay anymore. And if I died first, I wouldn't have to. But someone had to die where there was no payment made, right? So I didn't read it. I signed it. I didn't even hire a lawyer. I was just like glad to be done. And so now every month, now I personally don't write the check. It just comes. I know it's going out.
Sure, sure.
And my wife Alexis will tell me, "Oh, well, it's been sent," and I'm like, "Cool." But yeah, if I have to pay anything, that's the most annoying thing I have to pay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind paying anything else if it's truly due. I don't mind paying it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. I did not see that. You didn't see that one coming? No, I didn't. I did not see that answer coming. Quite frankly, I didn't even know that. But then again, you never know what you're going to get, and people answer these questions however they may wish, and that's fine. If you want to skip something, that's fine too.
That's why you have to ask.
No, it's okay. I didn't mean to bring up any negative memories here,
Oh,
but
no, it's all good.
we can let that one go. But the next question is, which magazine would you like to be on the cover of?
Probably the Rolling Stone.
There you go.
Yeah, it's been around ever since the 70s, and I remember the first issue. It's just and at one time it really just was mostly just music, very little political or anything else. It was for the longest time, it was just a music magazine that was just, they had really cool articles. I remember in '75 when Dylan went on tour, and Ben Fong Tours was able to go with, he's a writer for Rolling Stone. And he did a phenomenal job of covering Dylan's tour that year. It was just great stuff. I learned a lot about music by just reading the Rolling Stone.
Amazing. Two quick sidebars here regarding this question. When it comes to Rolling Stone, someone brought this up on the TV series that I watched some years ago called Smallville. And in Smallville, one of the characters says, let's face it, Clark has more issues than Rolling Stone. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa.
There's a lot of issues to Rolling Stones.
I was going to say, that is a clever way to use a line in a television series. I thought that was very clever. And if you don't mind me saying so, one quick sidebar here before I present you the next question, brought to you by our good friends over here at Poddex. Favorite Rolling Stone song?
Oh, Paint It Black.
There you go. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's a great choice.
For some reason, the beat to that song is just phenomenal. And it's a great song. So,
100%. I agree with that. I will give that song 2 thumbs way, way up, if you don't mind me saying so. With that being said, our good friends over here at Poddex want to know, what is the main thing that influences your decisions?
I guess my satisfaction. If I'm working on a piece and I'm not happy with it, I trash it, and then I'm over. And and then my attitude changes. It's like, am I going to do this piece? Do I have what it takes to do this piece? I'm working on a piece now, and it's very challenging. It's going to be the most difficult piece I've done to date, and it's the Doors of Druin from Lord of the Rings. And it's going to be in a layered piece, and it's going to be in a stained glass form. So it's extremely challenging, and I have pulled my hair out. I've cussed at it. I've laughed at it. I've done everything but cry over it yet, but that's still because I'm still in the sketching phases. I haven't even put color to paper yet. So I have no idea what this thing's going to look like. But I'm going to endeavor to persevere, and I'm just going to keep pushing forward on it because it's, to me, this is the Lord of the Rings piece that I have that you mentioned here on the show. That's my probably most famous piece right now. But it's been 6 years. And even though the Star Wars one that I have was supposed to be more superior to the Lord of the Rings one, people still seem to like the Lord of the Rings one better than the Star Wars one. So I'm going to stick with Lord of the Rings and come out with the Doors of Druin and really knock people's socks off with the piece.
Oh, sounds good. We wish you the best of luck with that new piece coming out at some point or another. And Carrot, or your friends in Chicago with them Bears, says, can't wait to see the finished product, Pat.
Yeah, that's don't hold
that's what your friend Charlie is saying.
Yeah, it's I've been talking about this piece for a year now, and when people say how long does it take for you to do a piece, from concept to finish, sometimes it does take a year, because the concept is just what's rolling around, what marble is going around in your brain, and I can have these beautiful envisioned pieces, but getting it to translate onto paper, it's a lot different. There's a process that you go through, and sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're just working. And other times you're just happy to be doing something that you love to do.
There you go. Right on. Mic drop moment, if I ever heard one. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that new piece that's coming up. And as a wise person, well, two things I want to add to that. Wise person once said in an animated film known as Toy Story 2, you can't rush art.
No, you can't.
And then point number two is, one does not simply make a piece of Lord of the Rings art. I couldn't help it. I got to give Boromir some credit here, because Sean Bean is a great actor.
Oh, absolutely. He's
a beast.
He dies better than anybody I've ever seen. So,
That's the thing, 99.9% of his films, he's been killed off, including the Bond film I grew up watching as a kid, GoldenEye.
Oh, yeah. That's the Pierce Brosnan one.
Exactly. That was the first Bond film I ever saw in the theaters, by the way, which was GoldenEye in 1995. That was a great year.
Oh, God. Okay. So I saw Goldfinger in theaters. So that's a long gap.
I was going to say, before there was a GoldenEye, there was also a Goldfinger. There you go. See?
Great
Give it a little bit of wink and a nod to the late great, or to the, I think she's still alive. Shirley Bassey. I think she's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she sang at the Bond tribute a couple years ago, if I remember correctly. So, or maybe was that a decade ago? Ooh,
and
it may have been longer.
And that's a fandom I've never touched. I've never touched the Bond fandoms. I've never done anything James Bond at all, and I grew up with it.
You gonna give it a whirl at some point?
Probably not. It's for one thing, I don't ever get any requests for it. No one ever. Hey, do you got anything James Bond? That is, out of all the years I've done this, no one has ever asked for anything James Bond.
So,
but here's what's happening now, and this is what, and a lot of people are starting to realize this, especially artists. Anime.
Mm-hmm.
During the pandemic, anime viewership shot up over 200%. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. Manga series are now outselling comic book series. And it's one of those things where it's another one of those paradigm shifts. It's happening in art. It's happening in pop culture. When I go to these conventions now, I see more anime T-shirts than I do Black Panther T-shirts or Thor or Hulk or Iron Man T-shirts. Any comic book hero, I don't see as many of their shirts as I do the anime shirts. The cosplay, it's mostly anime characters or video game characters. It's no longer the Spider-Man and the Deadpool. You know, it's Kyoto from Sword Art Online, or it's All Might from My Hero. So, yeah, it's one of those things where if you go, take a look and see, because being an artist, I'm a bit perceptive on things, especially in my environment. And I see this, and I adjust my art according to what is, because I'm a pop artist. I have to do what's popular. It's what I've always done. Everyone's asked me, can you draw me this? Can you draw me that? Can you do this? Can you do that? And it's always been centered around pop culture. Yeah, for 15 years, I tried doing sailboats and lighthouses and crabs on the beach and all that kind of stuff. And they were good works, but they weren't anything that was going to make me a dime, you know. But when someone says, oh, can you do me Tanjiro from Demon Slayer? Oh, yeah, I could do that, you know. And then, you know, they get the commission piece for $300, and then I got the prints and I keep selling them.
My goodness gracious, I was not aware of that. We're learning all kinds of fun facts on this show. You never know what you're going to learn on And I Quote. Surprises abound. They're everywhere. And it is the holiday season. 'Tis better to give than receive. So we're, man, being gifted a lot of fun facts. But I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Pat Kenrick of Amourable Art for being our guest on this episode of And I Quote. Pat, thank you so much for being here. Where can the person watching or listening to this follow you on social media and everything you have coming up? What do you got?
Okay, so we have an Instagram and a Facebook page, and they're Amourable Art at Facebook and Amourable Art Instagram. We did have a website, but my wife is, she does everything. I get to have all the fun. I get to draw, I get to paint, I get to do the cutting, the gluing and the splattering. I get to have a blast, but my wife does all the work. She schedules everything. She does everything. Her health started to suffer because she's been so overworked and stressed. So it's going to cost us some money, but I really don't care. We went ahead and just shut the website down because I want her to be healthy. I don't want her to be sick. So right now, the only way to get anything from me is at a show. And my last show of this year is coming up. It's going to be in Columbus, Ohio, in 2 weeks from now. And then the next show will be January, like the weekend of the first. It's not going to be on the first. It's the first weekend of the year in New Orleans. So unfortunately, people are only going to be able to buy the work at a convention or an art show that I'm at. And what we'll do on Facebook and Instagram is we will post our schedule so that you can come and see us. And I've been very fortunate that ever since we've shut this down, people have come. I've had people come 4 or 5 hours away to come and buy what prints that they wanted or pick up an original. So I've been very, very fortunate that shutting the website really hasn't hurt us that badly, but it has to be done because my wife's health is a lot more important than any kind of money I'd make off of a website.
Oh, of course, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that with us and letting us know about those updates that have been made and things of that nature. We look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, I'll get to see you at another show at some point in the future. I look forward to seeing you and your team at another show at some point in the future because your booth and your artwork is just, it's so freaking cool. I like it. In the words of Jimmy Boy, I like it a lot. So with that, gee willikers, Pat. With that being said, thank you so much for being here, Pat. Once again, my name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. All the links can be found to where you can follow our past guests on previous episodes of And I Quote, including this one, as well as myself. You can find those in the description of this video, whether you are watching the video version or the audio version. All the links are there. Make sure you're following them. Click on them. Follow our guests on social media and all the upcoming projects they have coming up. I want to let you guys know our next movie anniversary watch along is coming up. It is going to be on, I believe, yes, Friday, December the 16th. It is the 30th anniversary watch along of A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Speaking of Jack Nicholson there, Pat. You got Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, Friday, December the 16th at 8 p.m. EST on Facebook and YouTube at It's Nerd Culture. That's our next anniversary watch along, and it is going to be a lot of fun. Did you wear the code red? You know, there's so many great one-liners in that one. I cannot tell you. There's just too many to count. And also a great event coming your way very soon. This is a free virtual convention that you can attend, Pat, and forever who's watching or listening to this from the comfort of your very own home. This is called the Multiverse Fundraiser. It is going to be a virtual convention, January 20th through 22nd of 2023. It is called the Ritter Rally, presented by the back of the Cereal Box Network. The proceeds are going to be donated to the memory of the late, great John Ritter and his family, hence the reason it is called the Ritter Rally. We're going to have celebrity guests. We're going to have panels. We're going to have giveaways and special goodies. Ooh, yeah. So you're going to want to check that out on January 20th through the 22nd of 2023 is the Ritter Rally. Go to the website, www.themultiversefundraiser.com. Follow them on social media because guess what? Guest announcements, who's going to be with us? Those announcements are coming very soon. So stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you get notified of when our videos go up. And in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe, buy a piece of artwork, support independent artists, and as always, remember, life is better when reading. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Sweet dreams they placed on me inside my mind. Chance my truth, twist the past, my memories are fading fast. Am I still missed? Who do you want me to be? Am I still
Join author Gary Zeiger for an animatic short film based on his Breakaway Stingray novel series. Watch this animatic short based on the novel Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever at stingrayseries.com. In Stingray, You Can't Hide Forever, Captain Epsilon is putting the band back together to rescue his protege's little sister from the evil conglomerate, while keeping his state-of-the-art warship Stingray out of their hands. Watch as the adventure unfolds in the groundbreaking animatic short at stingrayseries.com. Then, join the crew of Stingray with the next novel in the series, Stingray Prophecy, where Captain Epsilon and Dr. Zubre are pivotal players in an ancient prophecy. Can they reunite the people of two worlds before they destroy each other? To learn more, visit stingrayseries.com.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.